It's 56 BC, and a Roman trireme cuts through the Mediterranean at full speed. 40 oarsmen, bronze ram at the bow, the pride of the most powerful navy on Earth. Then something surfaces, slowly, silently. A black shape, 560 feet long, rising from the water like a god pulling itself out of the deep. No sails, no oars, no visible crew. Just a massive, dark cylinder dripping seawater. And a flag no Roman has ever seen before. The trireme stops dead. Nobody moves. That's a Virginia-class nuclear attack submarine, and it just appeared in the middle of the Roman Mediterranean, fully armed, fully crewed, with enough firepower to end civilizations. So what actually happens next? Let's set the rules. A fully operational USS Virginia-class submarine, crew of 135, nuclear reactor running, complete weapons loadout, is teleported to the Mediterranean Sea in 56 BC. Julius Caesar is alive. Rome controls the Western Mediterranean. The Roman Navy is the most dominant maritime force on the planet. The submarine has everything it left with. Full crew, full armament. The only thing it doesn't have is a way home. The Virginia class is not a ship. It's a weapons platform disguised as a ship. It carries up to 38 weapons at any given time. 12 of those are Tomahawk cruise missiles, each one capable of hitting a target 1,000 miles away with terrifying precision. The rest of the loadout is a mix of Mk-48 torpedoes, traveling at 55 knots, faster than any Roman vessel has ever moved. The submarine itself is nearly invisible. It runs at depths Roman sailors couldn't conceptually imagine. It produces almost no sound. It has no sails to spot on the horizon. Rome's most advanced naval detection technology is a man standing at the front of a boat, squinting. And the submarine has sonar. It can hear a Roman trireme from miles away. It can track entire fleets without surfacing. The crew knows exactly where every Roman ship is before Rome knows the submarine exists. This is not a fair fight. Within hours of appearing in the Mediterranean, the submarine's crew surfaces briefly to get their bearings. They identify the coastline. The captain has to make a decision nobody in naval history has ever had to make. Do they engage? Do they hide? Do they make contact? He decides on contact first, because 135 people just got stranded 2,000 years from home, and the only civilization capable of feeding and sheltering them is Rome. A small crew surfaces in a dinghy, approaches a coastal settlement, attempts communication. It goes about as well as you'd expect. The Romans who encounter them don't run. They're Romans. Running isn't really in the manual, but they don't understand a single word. Latin and English share almost nothing in spoken form at this stage. The submarine crew's clothing looks like nothing anyone has seen. Their equipment, radios, flashlights, sidearms, is incomprehensible. Word spreads fast. Within days, the Roman Senate knows something has happened in the Mediterranean. A demon ship, a leviathan, men dressed like no known tribe who carry objects that create light and sound without fire. Caesar hears about it personally. And Caesar, being Caesar, doesn't panic. He investigates. Caesar dispatches scouts along the coastline. He sends fast ships to shadow whatever this thing is. Rome doesn't understand what the submarine is, but Rome understands that it exists. And Rome has been processing unknown threats and turning them into tactical problems since the Punic Wars. The submarine crew realizes they're being watched. They dive, disappear. But they can't stay down forever. A Virginia-class nuclear submarine has essentially unlimited range. The reactor can run for 25 years without refueling. But the crew needs food. Fresh water, the submarine can produce through its systems. Food is another problem entirely. Standard provisions last roughly 90 days. After that, the crew has to surface and make contact with someone. Rome is building a response. Not to destroy the submarine, because Rome correctly calculates it cannot, but to understand it. Caesar, ever the pragmatist, attempts something audacious. He sends an envoy, not soldiers, to the last known location where the strange men came ashore. He sends someone who speaks every known language in the Mediterranean world: Greek, Aramaic, Egyptian, Germanic dialects. None of them work. But one of the submarine crew members has studied classical Latin extensively. The gap is enormous, but it's a start. Over weeks of painstaking communication, a fragile exchange begins. Rome offers food: grain, fish, livestock. The submarine crew offers something Rome has never encountered: accurate maps, more precise than anything Roman cartographers have ever produced. Caesar is immediately obsessed. But the Roman military establishment isn't interested in maps. They want the weapons. Specifically, they've watched the submarine's surface twice now. They've seen the torpedo tube hatches. Every civilization in history recognizes a weapon when it sees one. The Senate debates. Some want to capture the submarine. Others argue this is madness. A faction led by a general named Marcus argues that Rome should simply wait. Whatever this thing is, it needs to eat. And everything that needs to eat can be starved into submission. Marcus is, unfortunately for Rome, completely correct. Except the submarine crew reaches the same conclusion before Rome can act on it. The captain makes a decision. They can't hide forever. They can't fight Rome, not because they lack the firepower, but because destroying Rome would strand them permanently with no civilization to interact with. They need Rome functional. They need Rome cooperative. So they demonstrate. One Tomahawk missile, fired out to open sea, away from any population center. No warhead, just the propulsion. The Romans, watching from the coastline, see a metal object launch from the water, ignite, and disappear toward the horizon at a speed nothing in human history has ever moved at before. The silence that follows lasts a very long time. After the demonstration, everything changes. Rome doesn't attack. Rome doesn't have a framework for attacking something that can do that. Even Caesar's legendary nerve has limits. A formal agreement is reached. The submarine crew gets food, shelter for anyone who comes ashore, and protected status. Rome gets navigational data, basic medical knowledge. The crew's onboard medical officer alone represents 2,000 years of advancement in medicine, and the implicit protection of having this thing allied with them, rather than against them. It's the strangest treaty in human history. And for a while, it works. The submarine never fires a weapon in anger. It doesn't need to. Its existence alone reshapes Roman foreign policy. When Rome's enemies learn that Rome has allied with a sea demon that spits fire across the horizon, naval challenges to Roman Mediterranean dominance drop dramatically. The crew begins to integrate. Slowly. Some learn functional Latin. Some never do. They establish a small settlement near the coast. Technically Roman land, technically something no law in existence can fully define. But here's the problem. The Tomahawk supply isn't infinite. The torpedoes aren't infinite. Eventually, every weapon on board is either used or degraded beyond function. The nuclear reactor runs for decades. The crew doesn't. 135 people, stranded 2,000 years in the past, begin to age. No replacements, no reinforcements, no parts for equipment that breaks down. The submarine itself slowly degrades. Systems fail. The crew cannibalizes parts from non-essential systems to keep essential ones running. Within 30 years, the most advanced weapons platform ever built is a nuclear reactor housed in a slowly deteriorating metal shell. Still dangerous, still impossible for Rome to board or destroy, but no longer the offensive force it once was. What remains is something stranger and more interesting than a military conquest. 135 people have spent 3 decades sharing knowledge with the most powerful civilization on Earth. Not weapons knowledge, but medical knowledge, agricultural knowledge, engineering principles, navigation techniques. The Roman Empire, already the most sophisticated state in the ancient world, gets a quiet 2,000-year upgrade in a handful of critical areas. What does that do to history? Nobody can say for certain. But here's what we know. Every time in history that a more advanced civilization made contact with a less advanced one, even peacefully, even carefully, the world that came out the other side looked nothing like the world that went in. 135 people didn't conquer Rome. They just showed up. And that was enough.
Hit subscribe. Ring the bell if you want to know what happens next time something impossible gets dropped into history. See you in the next one.